Welcome to Joe's Astrology, and this is the birth chart for Jamie Dimon. He is I believe he's the CEO and chief executive officer for J.P. Morgan. And there's no birth time for him. We have a Sun in Pisces, Moon in Aries, and much, much more that we're going to get into here. This is going to be a short one because this guy has the perfect chart for a finance guy, for a executive finance guy. And the interesting thing about this chart and about people that are like this, we're talking about one of the things we're talking about here astrologically is Pisces, Sun in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, and Neptune at 29 degrees, the ruler of Pisces. And there's much more here. But what I was going to say with the people that have this, obviously Pisces, they're going to be in finance, etc., but they simultaneously are going to have this air about them of taking care of people. And the interesting thing is that obviously this guy, his salary is massive. He doesn't have any money problems, etc. But he's going to show in his world, it's the world that we live in. We're talking about the consensus. And in that world, money is very, very important. The economy is very, very important. And this guy is going to show that empathy. He's going to show that care for people through the use and the control of money. And if you watch him, that's what he does. He has here Moon in Aries. We're thinking of an executive, right? An executive is going to have this new moon, born on a new moon. Jupiter rules the sun as well. Mars ruling the moon. That Mars is in Capricorn where it's exalted. So there is some of and you can see the Mars is squaring the moon. There's some of the indications of this guy being aggressive, being in charge, being a leader, um, ability to take control, no retreat. You think of Pisces, and Pisces can be a sign of retreat, but not in this chart. There's no signs of retreat in this chart. So let's continue. Let's continue here. Let's go back to. I want to go back to the sign of Pisces. So we're talking about Neptune. We're also talking about Jupiter, and not only does he have the Sun in Pisces, we have Mercury in Pisces, and this Neptune at 29 degrees, but Jupiter here is conjunct Pluto. And I talk a lot about in these charts of these famous people that have Jupiter Pluto. And you can see it's in the balsamic phase there. It's retrograde, it's in Leo, really expanding the sun, expanding that sun in Pisces, which is making an exact aspect to. You can see the Jupiter sun there. So, very much, again, Jupiter rules finance, going along with this theme of Neptune and Jupiter. Having Pluto there, power. Pluto is power. Having it be an exact in conjunct to the sun. Then we can move to his north. Well, before I do that, the Jupiter as well is making an almost exact sextile to that Neptune, which we see that as well in these charts as well. The Jupiter Pluto and the Jupiter Neptune. So he also has the north node, and he has Saturn there, retrograde at 2 degrees on the north node where he's headed. And that is showing a life of fruition when it comes to what? Work, Saturn. And it's in the sign of that Jupiter rules. So we're talking about, again, banking, Jupiter, banking, Saturn, work, life's work, hard work. Not afraid to do the hard work. That's where he's headed. You could say it's also making an aspect to Mars, the other planet that would be associated with hard work, fortitude, courage, and they're all an aspect to each other. Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, The moon we don't really know about without the birth time, but we could say it's probably an aspect as well. We could also throw in Uranus making a trine, and Uranus making an inconjunct to Mars and a square to Venus. So we also have the South Node ruled by Mercury, coming back to that Pisces, where he's coming from, the South Node, being ruled by that Mercury in Pisces. What is Mercury? Mercury is the thinking of the zodiac. Uh, I'm sorry, of astrology. It's the mind. It's the trickster. So he's coming from. We think of Gemini and Mercury. It can be the trickster. It can be someone who uh, really does what they have to do, regardless of the grander picture. Sagittarius. But not to say that that's what he's doing. Just some insights there, and it's really coming back to Pisces again. All the themes of Pisces. To me, it's just it's a very interesting chart. It's from that perspective that there's that duality there. That the duality in the sense that this person has to be a CEO, but at the same time is kind of forced to do things and make decisions and work in a system where he also is responsible for or at least responsible for decisions that affect a lot of people. He also has Venus in Taurus. So Venus rules Taurus. We're talking about Venus, the planet of money, in the sign of money, Taurus. It's making a sextile to that Mercury. As I said, it's making a trine to Mars, and it's making an inconjunct to Saturn. And there's a lot of you can see there's a lot of inconjuncts in this chart, which is interesting. I don't know what kind of decisions he had to make in his life, but you could definitely say with his position, he's uh, probably inundated with decisions to make, which would lead to indecision, adjustments. You think of Virgo, you do think of money and finance as well. Virgo, Mercury, as I mentioned earlier, because it's a very, to really focus on it, it can really consume the mind, and it never really ends. It never ends. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Just a short one. That's a mini birth chart reading for Jamie Dimon.